Oh my god, what did I just watch? Who am I? What am I? What is me? I just need to stop. My head is just hurting thinking about it. Like, I feel goddamn depressed. Okay, so Allegiant 3, or I'm sorry, Divergent 3. Does it really matter anymore? So Allegiant picks up from the events of Insurgent and continues the story of Triss and the rest of her rebellious friends. And after them just taking out an evil dictator, a new figurehead, which is the main dude's mom, jumps into power in hopes of restoring Chicago in its former glory. And it turns out that the mom isn't making Chicago any better, and it turns out that she's a massive bitch. So the group ends up trying to escape by going over the wall that imprisons them in hopes of finding any life form that's out there. In which they stumble across a city in which they find out that Chicago has been studied for more than 200 years, and them trying to find the more pure Divergent that has the potential of them saving the world. Just something like that. Now, being in conflict with their old and new homes and a potential war between the two sides about to erupt, Triss and her friends must decide regarding which side is doing the right thing. Yeah, gee willikers, Batman, there's a lot going on in this plot, because there is. My head just hurts trying to explain it as vaguely as I can. Now, the Divergent series is another young adult franchise that's trying to keep the trend going by following up the Hunger Games and the Maze Runner. I mean, I get it. It's a popular franchise. But I really gave this series a chance. I really did. Like, I watched the first one and then I saw the potential of this being a universe and I was like, okay, it's pretty decent. And then Insurgent comes out and then it just destroys all hopes of me caring whether or not this franchise exists or not, because it was majorly bad. But then Allegiant comes to the rescue and, alright, look, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Allegiant is straight up fucking dog shit. I don't understand, like, how are these films getting worse and worse? Almost everything about it was terrible. I'm still in complete and utter shock on what I just saw. And for me to fully explain on how this is a train wreck, I'm gonna have to go deep into some spoilers. So if you don't want the main event of March ruined for you, I suggest not watching this video at all. And if you're still here, cool, you don't give a shit about this franchise, let's talk about a bad movie now. Because Allegiant has some of the most cliche and almost lazy kind of storytelling in the realms of being a universe. Because let's say, if you were to take scene by scene and just lay it out all over the table, you would be like, I've seen this movie 100 times over before. I mean, shit, The Maze Runner 2 had the same formula and the outline of this movie, so they basically remade that and called this Divergent 3. But I'm highly convinced that this is a lot worse than The Maze Runner 2, which is a sad thing because they had all the tools needed to make it somewhat enjoyable. And it just fell completely on its ass. Like, you're watching the movie play out and you're able to pinpoint every possible plotline in the movie, and it took away the excitement and any possibility of being somewhat intriguing and just flushed it all down the shitter. I mean, it's sad because you can tell the cast and crew don't give a shit anymore. You start to see that like the first 10 minutes into the movie, and since it does start off as an action sequence, but even those feel uninspired. Like the first action scene, it has Triss and her friends running up the wall to escape For's evil bitch mom, and it turns out that on top of the wall she put in electrified wires, and they're like, how do we get past this? And then Triss turns her head and she sees a big ass generator just waiting to be blown up. Yeah, how fucking coincidental is that? While at the same time dudes are shooting at her, of course missing every single shot because they're bad guys, and I'm like, this is a video game plotline. I'm watching a video game right now. Like, so many things throughout the movie that just so happen to be there coincidentally that just gets the characters from point A to point B, and it's just really dumb. And even when they get to the mysterious city ran by Jeff Daniels, and their whole purpose was to study Chicago to find this more pure Divergent, and long story short, they were trying to perfect humanity, and since you can't perfect humanity, it just completely backfires on them, and it causes them on why they are in this post-apocalyptic state. And I'm like, of course, I've seen this a million fucking times already. I'm gonna talk about the special effects for a quick second because they are straight up dick in Allegiant. Like, it was almost terrifying. Because from these fictional cities they were trying to create to the technology they use for the weaponry or even the green screen they used, you can tell the filmmakers didn't take their time to make it somewhat decent or believable. It was really appalling. The best way I can describe it is that it looks blocky and unfinished. Like, they watched the early cuts of the special effects and some asshole was like, you know what? It looks fine. People aren't gonna notice. Gotta add the stogie in there. Which, yes, we do. We can tell that you invested more time in the love story than you actually did making this universe feel real, and that is unacceptable. Like, check this out. There's a couple scenes towards the end where Triss and Zoe Kravitz are trying to use these surveillance drones to try and take out their enemies, and the enemies clearly see something they're not aware of, and they're just staring at it. They're like, oh, what is that? I'm like, you dumb motherfucker, just shoot the damn thing. I mean, wouldn't it make sense in a post-apocalyptic world where everything has gone to shit, and when you see something that has clearly taken out all your friends, wouldn't it be the right state of mind to shoot it, maybe? I don't know, maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. Or maybe I'm just too smart for the movie. And not to mention, the lead characters have never been this uninteresting in the series just ever. They do not carry this movie whatsoever. Like, I know Shailene Woodley is a great actress, and I'm sure everybody else on set is great people too, but they don't do a great job on trying to keep these characters that you're rooting for interesting. But even if one of them died, you wouldn't care. But when it really comes down to it, it's none of the actors' fault whatsoever. It's actually the filmmakers' fault for them thinking that what they have given us for the final project is decent enough to make it to the big screen. I just hate when movies do that shit. Like, they look at it and they're like, oh yeah, almost everything about it, like story, special effects, acting, maybe shit, but we can make a quick buck out of it. Because they know it's a young adult franchise with an audience consisting mostly of teenage girls finding out what a penis is for the first time. But here I am, tearing this movie apart, and what does that make me? Exactly. Look, what I'm trying to say is that, in short, Allegiant is one of the worst films of 2016 because it is an absolute abomination to cinema. Guess I didn't give too much spoilers. That kind of sucks. And I also have to bring up that this movie had the most awkward ending I have ever seen, just ever. Like, it ends and you're like, what the fuck? That's it? Well, I guess the torture is over now. Alright guys, I want to know what your thoughts are about Allegiant, and do you think this franchise still has a chance? I personally think it doesn't. And for any viewers out there, don't comment on my video saying, stop hating on the Divergent series, the books are so much better, you just don't understand. In which I don't have to read the books. The books are entirely different from the movie. I just hope you guys understand that. Anyway, whatever your thoughts are, leave them down below. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that social media shit down below. Keep in contact with me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as always, may the Force be with you.